Hey guys, welcome to Around the Emirates podcast with Sarah, where I speak to guests from across the UAE about topics you want to hear about. Today, I'm joined by special guest Mohamed Al Fayed, who is co-founder and CEO of a food-focused tech startup called GrubTech. Welcome, Mohamed.
Hey, Sarah. Thank you for having me on the platform. Really excited to be here.
Of course, it's an absolute pleasure. So, GrubTech, I think people have heard of that. Do you want to tell me your story?
Sure. Look, we're a startup based out of Dubai, established in October of 2019, with a mission to digitize the F&B world. We've got, a passion for taking anything analog, whether it's be brick and mortar operations in the retail space, in the food space, and bringing a touch of digitization to it. And that's exactly what we did. So over the last 2.5 years, we serve customers across 17 countries. Our business includes cloud kitchens like the Talabat Cloud Kitchen, the Accor Hotel Group Cloud Kitchen, the Hunger Station Cloud Kitchens, as well as a lot of restaurants that most of you users or listeners enjoy on a daily basis. And people ask, well, what do you do for them? The best way I can describe it is we're a restaurant technology in a box. So everything that you need to run your restaurant, from how you create your ingredients to how you build your recipes, your pictures, your item titles, your descriptions, the point of sale that sits on the counter that we use to take orders from, connecting you guys to all the food aggregators like Careem, Talabat, Hunger Station, Deliveroo, and the many others. How do we take the order in? How do we split the order so the drinks go to the drink station or fries go to the fry station? How do we bring that order back together again? And how do we make sure we hand the right bag to the right customer, and do so to bring that click to doorbell journey as short as possible so you can enjoy nice warm food. So that's what GrubTech does.
Oh, no big deal. Just like does the entire service for you and feeds you, but like, no problem at all.
Yeah, no, that's what we do on Monday morning. Tuesday's a whole different day. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, so my first question is about your timeline. So you started this just before the pandemic, is that right?
That's right.
What was that like?
Look, I mean, nobody could have predicted that, 4 months after starting a young startup between three crazy co-founders, the world would just go crazy. And, you're trying to build, hire, train, induct, build a culture, talk to customers, sell product, all within the comforts of your bedroom or your office through a two-dimensional screen. So it was very challenging. It was very difficult, but there's a silver lining to every story. And the silver lining is that overnight, every single restaurant depended on delivery as their primary form of income. And the demand for the product surged globally. We were building faster than we could sell, or we're selling faster than we can build, I should say. And we were very fortunate to service really, really big logos and really, really big clients and learn a lot from them, because the interesting part is none of us come from the F&B background. So for the first part of this journey, I didn't understand what a point of sale is, from a kitchen display system to what the hell happens to an order when it goes into a kitchen. So that was a lot of learning, and we learned through the lens of the customers, and we were fortunate enough to have such patient and very well experienced customers to teach us what we needed to build. So there was a challenge and a difficulty building a company during the first phase of the pandemic, but in hindsight, it also has been instrumental to get us where we are today.
I see. And you said that you operate in 17 countries?
Yeah, so we're as far east as Singapore and Malaysia, and as far west as Spain. Haven't landed in the Americas yet, but I think that's going to happen pretty soon. So, heck of a journey. An absolute pleasure to have been, fortunate enough to blessed with the customers and the colleagues that we have to get us to where we are today.
Okay, that's interesting. So I'm not sure if you would consider this a challenge of you kind of not having the F&B background to do this. I guess it was more of a learning experience. But aside from the obvious challenge of, the pandemic, what would you say is something that was a serious challenge for you that you were able to overcome, and how?
Look, we're a little older than most startup entrepreneurs. I think the three I think I know the three co-founders are over the age of 40. So it was that basically means that we had steady jobs, paychecks every 28 days, and we have families and the typical bills, and we all live in Dubai, so it is a
Right.
relatively expensive city, and we had to make a conscious. Calculated decision to kind of leave all of that and put a big risk quotient on top of it to start GrubTech. So it was unnerving, and obviously faced with a pandemic and a severe investor backlash on who they were investing in and how they were investing in was you know unsettling to say the least. And these were all different challenges that we had to work through, especially during the early days.
I see. It's interesting how you said that the investors are a little older than the usual entrepreneurs. So it's just because like usually when you hear entrepreneur or like tech, people doing like involved in tech startups, you think of like maybe people in like their 30s or maybe people who have like just starting out after college maybe. So what would you say was kind of the main source of inspiration? I guess, were you guys friends beforehand and decided to kind of come together? You noticed a kind of a capacity gap in the market. Like, how did this come together?
Yeah. So one of the co-founders, Omar Rifai, and I date back about 35 years in friendship. We grew up
Whoa.
in the same neighborhood, yeah, and went to the same elementary school, and the kind of luck universe had us, attached at the hip all the way until we came here to Dubai early 2008. So we did have that foundational trust element and absolute, faith in each other's abilities. And through common friends, we brought in and roped in our third co-founder, who's our CTO, which was one's friend removed from a similar story. And under, the umbrella of let's try something new, and life wasn't difficult enough as it is, so let's make it a lot harder. Let's start a company 4 months before a pandemic sweeps the world. So
Why not?
that's yeah, why not? So that's kind of the story. Now, why do so in our 40s? I think each one of us will have a different answer, but I can tell you mine, and mine, to be honest with you, was, look, in my previous life, I was senior vice president. I was blessed to build a digital company under the Altair umbrella and be part of an amazing story that gave birth to, websites like Unas and Mamas and Papas and Gap and numerous, luxury brands that have made the foray out of brick and mortar into the digital arena. And to be very honest with you, I felt that I've reached the pinnacle of that mountain. There wasn't much more to conquer in that space. And that entrepreneurial spirit just kept me up at night. I knew that there was more I needed to do, and I wasn't really sure what it would be and what it is. And a funny story is that I actually quit my job well before I knew that I was going to start GrubTech. I quit my job in search of the next challenge, and GrubTech happened to land on my lap about 4 months later through a complete coincidence and a sequence of events. Our co-founder made an investment in an early stage cloud kitchen. He brought me in to kind of take a look at what that cloud kitchen was doing by way of a technology space. I had never seen, heard, or been in a cloud kitchen before. Walked through it and go, oh my God, this is rife with inefficiencies, and there's a severe lack of technology kind of enabling this whole, food delivery story. Did a lot of research over the summer, try to understand who the different players are, what their USPs were, what they were offering to market, and just was convinced and that there was an opportunity there, and I couldn't shake it. I tried to ignore it. I tried to pass on it, but it kept on gnawing on my soul that I had to answer the call, and that's where GrubTech was kind of born.
It's so interesting how you quit your job before actually getting that opportunity in front of you. I feel like you're like, you know what? YOLO, just see where this takes me.
You just know. Look, I've learned over, again, gray hair, beard, so you get a little bit of wisdom out of not what to do, but more importantly, what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
And your soul speaks to you, your body speaks to you. So my story goes along the lines of I went on Christmas break, traveled to a destination with my family, and for some odd reason just didn't feel compelled to go back. And I knew that was just a red flag. Like I did not want to go back into my seat. I had a very cushy job. I had over 800 people in my division. I had 200, amazingly talented individuals in the back of house that were building amazing product. And for some reason that just failed to excite me. And, I learned a long time ago that you've got to do what you're passionate about. Otherwise it feels like a chore, it feels like a job. And I'm not in it for the paycheck. It was never about the money for me. So I answered the call, and I knew whatever was next was going to transpire and kind of come to the surface. And it did.
That's incredible to know that. Most people think, oh, I have the vacation blues. I don't want to go back, to work. But for you to have actually taken the decision of, what, I don't want to do this anymore. That's something that people, I think, should do more of, just because life is too short simply to be in a position that you're unhappy to be in. But that actually leads me to my next question. So, of course, you talked about kind of following your passion, listening to your soul, listening to your body, what you really want to do with your life. Do you have any kind of word of advice for tech people listening to this call who are too scared to kind of leave their job behind to start a new project or invest in something new?
Yeah, look, I have no answers of what to do, but I do have a lot of answers of what not to do, having done them and realized that it didn't work. Yeah. So, what I can tell you is I've spent an inordinate amount of time, trying to find the right moment for this leap. And it is a leap of faith, right? You're trusting in your skill sets, you're trusting in your years of experience, you're trusting in your support system around you, whether it's your family, your wife, husband, whatever the case may be, in order to take that leap of faith into the unknown, right? With so much uncertainty around you, both macro and micro. And you will pen out what is the right moment. How much money do I have to have saved? How many friends do I have to have had? Or how many contacts do I need to know? And how many VCs are interested? The reality is there is no right time, and everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And whatever you think your business looks like or is going to look like, I can guarantee you it's not going to look like when it actually happens. Okay, there's just too many variables moving all at the same time. So you've just got to have a lot of faith that you've got what it takes. You've got to have a lot of grit, because the highs are super high and the lows are super low. And I heard you kind of introduce your podcast earlier in the conversation about talking about some of the things that, people don't talk about in society. And one of the topics that people don't talk about is the mental fortitude required to be an entrepreneur, because there isn't a lot of information. When you read how to become a tech entrepreneur or whatever, it's all about business plans, raising funds, finding the right CTO, finding the right co-founder, product market fit. But there's very little material about what the mental requirements are for a successful tech entrepreneur, because it is a trying and very difficult task. Not what to do, but how to keep yourself sane throughout the journey. And most people that fail, in my humble opinion, fail because they lack that grit. And I think there's plenty of books about that topic, about being able to be thick-skinned enough to sustain all the twists and bends and potholes that will occur. Because I guarantee you, regardless of who you are, they will happen. You just have to have the stomach to get through them. So my advice is surround yourself with a lot of support, because you're going to need it. Stop looking for the right time. There is no such a thing. Gather your courage, have a lot of faith in your skills and who you are. Make sure you don't jump in a project that doesn't resonate with you, both with a purpose and a why and a passion. And get going. How, what, where, that's entirely up to you. You can do it as a side hustle, and then when that grows, you bring it into your core of your universe. You can do what I did and go kamikaze on it and just quit everything and jump in both feet. Whatever makes sense for you, as long as there's momentum and action, okay, you'll get to where you need to go. A lot of people just daydream about it, they think about it, they may go as far as journaling or whiteboarding, but they don't take the necessary steps to get there. So just take action and iterate as you move forward, and you'll get to your goal.
Well, thank you so much for sharing those words of wisdom. I think it resonates a lot with my followers and my listeners. It's just a matter of taking that first step. And I really appreciate you coming at this from like that humble angle of like, I've been where you are, kind of, I've been working at like a 9-to-5 job. I know what it's like, you know, the stress of potentially leaving your comfort zone. And like you said, that salary that you trust and need. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed talking with you, and yeah, I hope to speak to you again soon.
Me too. Me too. I hope I was helpful to anybody listening to this podcast, and thank you very much for giving me a platform to speak to them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. See you later, guys.
Of
Bye.
course. Bye bye. Bye bye.